Welcome back, everyone, to AJC and the Web Devs AutoShow CLI Part 2 with Nikki T. What's up, Nikki? I am in moving mode, which is why I'm also in homeless mode. So
Okay.
that's why everything looks the way it does, but I'm feeling pretty good. Just been cranking it out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's moving's always I mean, obviously it's nice to move to somewhere else. Like hopefully where you move to is an
An
upgrade of
upgrade,
sorts.
for sure.
But it's definitely a pain packing and stuff. Like I mean, it's one thing if you're some C-suite executive where people just come in and pack everything for you, but like I'm assuming you're in the same camp as me where you typically box your own things and then like
Yeah.
and then it's just like I don't know. After you move, like I mean, I haven't moved in a long time because I live in a house now. But I think we had boxes in the basement for like 3 years that weren't even opened. And then it's also the best time. Like if you're moving, if there's anything remotely you don't use, like that is the
Throw
best
it
time
out,
to
yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah,
Like
we've moved like 3 times within the last kind of 5 years, so this was definitely the most streamlined out of all of them because 'cause we've gotten rid of stuff incrementally along the way, which I'm a huge
okay,
fan of. I like living very light. So,
yeah,
yeah, no,
for
it's
sure.
good that we're in a very nice place now, so I'm a big fan. But,
No,
tell
that's
me
cool.
about what's up in your life. Have you been to any conferences since we last talked? I think it
Uh,
was around beginning of May we did our last stream.
oh yeah, no, I've definitely been on the move. It's in a good way, like just lots going on. But if it was since May, then like I went to it was end of May. I went to the first MCP Dev Summit, the Model Context Protocol Summit,
Yeah.
and yeah, I went to there, and then a couple weeks later was at the AI World Fair in San Francisco as well. So
Right,
those
yeah,
are the
you and
two big
Ishan were
ones.
both there at the same time. I think you didn't run into
Yeah,
each
yeah.
other, but, Ishan talked about he was on the stream a couple weeks ago. Definitely give me your take on that. What'd you get from that conference?
I thought it was really well organized, and I mean, I wasn't there to give a talk, so I was working a booth for the most part. But like,
Okay,
I
gotcha.
got to catch. I don't know if you know Nick Nisi from like JS Party and stuff, but him and his
Mhm,
coworker
yeah.
Zach, they ran a agents workshop using Mashra.ai. So I caught that, and I was able to catch some talks, but it was just a really well run conference. And honestly, like I mean, I'm sure they say it every year about AI or whatever, but like honestly, I feel like going to that MCP Dev Summit plus the AI World Fair were like critical moments this year in terms of the AI space. I mean, obviously there's other conferences I know, but
You feel like you're
it
in the
was a
action, though.
yeah, like I mean, even Logan, I forget his last name from Google. They released a new model right at the conference in one of the keynotes.
Mhm.
No,
Logan
just lots of
Kilpatrick.
excitement. Yeah, Kirkpatrick, that's it. Yeah. It's
Kilpatrick,
funny.
K-I-L Patrick.
Oh, Kilpatrick, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's funny. I was on a live stream with him when he used to be, I think, the DevRel for the Julia language, and
Oh, really? That's
which I'm not
interesting.
too familiar with the Julia language, but I was on like a Appright Hacktoberfest live stream when I think it was when I was still at Netlify, or maybe when I just finished working at Dev.2, but that's where well, I didn't really meet him. Obviously, you're just on a live stream, but
Mhm.
but yeah, he seems to be doing some good stuff over there at Google. So, but yeah, lots of excitement around stuff. There's like at the booth, it was interesting because like we can talk about like what I've been working on, but there's a lot of people where AI is still like super fresh, and they're not like it's not like people are like, okay, we're rolling this out. There was a lot of people that were just curious about a lot of things, not
Mhm.
necessarily committing to it right away. But
Yeah.
then you have people all in, like at the MCP Dev Summit. Angie Jones, who was there from Block, and she was just saying how Block
Was she
is
talking
all
about
in on
Goose?
MCP. Yeah, Goose. Yeah,
Yeah.
Goose for sure. And MCPs all the way. Like they use MCPs and Goose internally, like they're dog fooding it.
Yeah, so
But
I
they're
had
kind of
Rizal and Ebony. They were one of my more recent streams to come on to talk about Goose specifically. And I once they showed it to me, I had like a big aha moment. I feel like Goose is a thing that for me really pulls a lot together in terms of the MCP world and does it in
yeah,
a really good way. So I feel like they're positioned in a really interesting spot. And I think they said that they even contributed to the spec, which the spec is probably still going to be modified at
yeah,
this point. So it's still in progress, but that still shows that they're kind of like going to be in it from the ground floor at a
yeah,
size and a level of investment that not a lot of other projects will be able to match.
yeah. And I think it's smart that it's open source.
Mhm.
The the things that I don't use Goose every day, but I have it on my machine. But one thing about the MCP support they have right now is you can run local MCPs and you can run remote ones, like remote servers in a certain context. Like you still have to run it in the configuration as like npx run remote. It's like a npm package to run a remote
Okay.
MCP server, but it doesn't handle like an authentication flow or anything right now, at least from what I in the latest version of Goose. Like I I was trying to vibe code it to do it, but it's all written in Rust, and like I got somewhere, but I honestly that was more me just having a beer on a Friday night, going, let's just vibe code this, but
Sure.
didn't happen. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the MCP space, like even Visual Studio Code now they had MCP support before, but now they support, I think they're one of the very few MCP clients that actually support remote MCP servers, including the whole OAuth flow and everything. So uh, it was in Insiders for a while, but now it's in the stable release of VS Code. So
Mhm.
yeah, pretty neat stuff. And
Well, that's
I don't know.
basically what your company is trying to do is add that auth flow to MCP. Am I kind of right about that?
Yeah, well, we're kind of bringing zero trust to the forefront in terms of like uh, my CEO actually opened a issue in the spec about this, because if you read the security best practices, there's stuff, and I wrote an article about it too that I can drop. I can find that for
Yeah,
you, but
for sure.
um, basically, like in the security best practices, they say like you should have a proxy. Like it's just like it's table stakes for if you're doing a production, kind of thing. Like
Right.
it's one
Yeah.
thing
Just like
if
you
it's
would for
just
any other kind of server that you deploy.
yeah. So like let me find it. News. Oh yeah, here it is. Of course, it's got a spicy title, but here I'll share it in the chat. Private chat. There we
Why your
go.
MCP server's gonna get hacked and you'll be wrecked. The complete guide 2025.
the the thing is like the TLDR is like, so they've updated the spec and it adds OAuth into the spec, but
Hey, you wrote for the news stack? That's cool.
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my second post for the new stack. So, um, but I'm not gonna go through all of it. But basically, with agentic workloads, like you don't know what they're doing. I mean, you might know to some degree, but like having a proxy, you get observability, like because it's going through the proxy. So, and it runs at layer 7, the proxy, meaning it's at like the HTTP or application
Do you want
level.
to actually, real quick, pull up the article on your screen and then
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
cool.
show map to what you're talking about so we can see the if not I don't
Yeah,
know if there's visuals in this, but at least text. Oh, you got a one good graphic, it looks like.
yeah.
And I wanted
There
you
we
to
go.
test a PR after this anyway, so this would be a good time to transition to the
Cool.
screen share. You
Yeah,
should bump
so
your
this is
font
the
up
post.
maybe 2 or 3
Yeah,
times.
yeah. I already zoomed it in. I don't know if
Okay,
that's
that's
okay.
good.
Yeah, that should be
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, so it's obviously like a little spicy, the title
Sure, it's
maybe,
fine.
but
Yeah.
who doesn't like spice, right? Um, but yeah, so like uh, you know, this is not a knock on MCP at all. I think they're doing a lot of great work with the spec and stuff. These are just like things that we think can be improved, and like
which makes sense
the,
because the people who I'm sure created the spec weren't necessarily security experts. They would have some degree of security training, like all developers do, but it wasn't like created by a security company.
well, there's people like on the in the steering committee from like Okta, and then there's like Den Dilimarsky here who works over at Microsoft, so he's like a security expert. I actually, a funny side story, but he was my product manager at Netlify for a while when I first
Oh,
started
really?
there. So
Very cool.
it's just small world. But yeah, no, I think like to give some context, like the model context protocol only came out like November 2024. Like I
Right.
think it was like November 24th or something. It's like late in the year basically. So like,
Yeah.
and we're only June 30th. So like we're talking like 7 months this has been out in the wild kind of, and like
Mhm.
I think with new stuff, like especially devs, it's like eh, because the remote MCP servers came after, but like everybody's running these local ones, and you kind of like, it's my machine, whatever. It's kind of like you kind of give admin to everything, you know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah,
just
it's a
trying out
different kind of
stuff.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But with these remote MCP servers, you do want to lock them in a bit more, and there's some
Yeah, because
good
you've
things
got
about
access to an LLM, you can wreak havoc on all sorts of stuff.
yeah, and like the thing is like, OAuth, you can get that authorization, and there's like static scopes, like you have access to, I don't know, like your Google Calendar or whatever. That's one thing, but there's a few other things. There's like the flow that happens is like when I can come down to
Yeah, there's
here,
yeah, you're good.
mermaid
One,
diagram down here.
yeah.
So
You have
like,
to zoom that in a little bit because the text is pretty small. Or if you like open that
yeah, there we go.
there, bump it up still
I
a
don't.
little more if you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing that funny thing when you zoom in too much, it starts
Yeah.
moving down,
Right. Yeah.
which I don't understand. But anyways,
That's fine.
um,
That's good, I think.
this is our flow. But like the thing to mention is like when you go to register with an MCP client. Yeah, we can walk through it this way. So you're a user here, and you just want to register an MCP server. So you're using some kind of MCP client that could be it could be like VS Code at this point. It could be Goose. It could be Claude Claude Max if you're using their Claude integrations. But basically, you go to register the MCP server. So you put a URL in, and then it does the auth and stuff. This is with Pomerium. So like, I'll talk about this after. But basically, you go to register, and then the MCP server, if you authorize with it, you're going to get a token back, and that token gets stored on the MCP client because it needs to use it to go back and forth. So
Mhm.
like, imagine you have a token that gives you access to GitHub, another one to Notion. You know, we like to think that people aren't nefarious or MCP clients aren't nefarious, but who knows? You're giving the keys to all that stuff, and I mean, I highly doubt like Claude or like Goose are going to do that, but there just could be weird things LLMs do too, and like you have these tokens, so like there's a potential security risk there, and like uh, in the spec too, I believe it mentions that like the proxy should manage them, or I can't. I might be mixing the spec with what we're doing, but essentially, uh, what we do is when you log in to like when you register an MCP server with a client. I'll come down to the one that actually has a token. Let's go down here.
More lines and arrows.
Yeah, it's doing the super shrink again. Okay, so
Yeah, that's fine.
typically you're gonna if you don't have like an upstream service, like your MCP server isn't connecting to like GitHub or something, it's just maybe it's just an internal app. There's that part, so you can do that OAuth. But the other thing is if you're getting access to other services upstream, like your MCP servers for GitHub or Notion, like I said, those tokens go back to the MCP client, and it's actually better to gate them inside the proxy so that, like in the context of Pomerium, what happens is we know which tokens you have that you've used to register for MCP servers. I don't know. In simple terms, just think of it like there's a lookup table that knows I'm Nick and I've used these tokens. But basically, what happens is when you get to Pomerium, when it's coming back from the MCP server, Pomerium actually just returns a short-lived token to the MCP client. So like, even if somebody steals that, one, it's short-lived, and two, it's not the keys to GitHub. It's not the keys to your Notion. You know what I mean? It's just, so like from a security standpoint, that's a lot better. And there's some debate about like who should be owning that. But I think it makes sense at the proxy level. And the other thing is, if you introduce zero trust, and this doesn't have to be Pomerium, it could be Google's identity aware proxy. I think Cloudflare has something similar too, but like you can, like real zero trust security, what happens is literally every request is checked every time via a policy engine that you have. It's a piece of the identity aware proxy. So like in terms of setup, like I'm kind of explaining zero trust here now, but zero trust, you have the identity aware proxy at your network edge, and then you have your internal apps and stuff, and those could also be MCP servers. So like it's like very close to where your internal stuff is. So latency wise, that's kind of negligible. But what happens is it comes in, and like, let's just say you try to access any internal service. Let's just say it's an MCP server. It's going to go, oh, sorry, Anthony, you can't reach this. Your email's not in the pomerium.com domain. Like, that's a very simple policy, but policies can get more complex. They can be like time-based. It could be like, am I on call or not, based on pulling in some third-party data like PagerDuty or something. And all of a sudden, it's like I might only have access to certain internal resources, including MCP servers, at certain times, or if I'm on a registered device only. So it's not just like authorization kind of lets you, this is what you can do, but it's like, should you be doing this now? Like so it's really meant as like the OAuth improvements they've made to the spec are good, but this is like, and like I said, in the security best practices, they mentioned the proxies and stuff. So like, it just seems to make sense. And we're already, like I said, any identity aware proxy is running at the app layer, so layer 7 in the network stack. So it just makes sense because like this is all like HTTP happening for MCP servers. So for the remote ones, there's obviously local ones that are standard IO, but so that's kind of what we've been working on in a nutshell.
Have you talked to Kent about this at all? Because I know he was talking about auth and MCPs at least a month or two, maybe longer ago. So I'm tweeting about it.
Yeah, I haven't spoken with him directly. I saw him at the MCP Dev Summit. I just said hello briefly. Yeah. I think he was pretty busy, but
yeah, he's a pretty busy dude. But I know it's just it's the thing that he has already thought about and was like talking about online. So you can at least find his tweets about it.
Yeah, no, I know I think he was talking about authing for the Epic stack using like email. Yeah. I can't remember the exact flow, but this is like, I guess the other thing to mention here, like in terms of zero trust, is like, yes, it can secure these things, but like the other thing too is like this is really like enterprise grade that you're going to do this. Like somebody might not care if it's just like, I'm just messing around with an MCP server, proof of concept. But if you like, businesses are like literally using these today. So like you want like something enterprise grade to like literally secure this. So again, like I said, this definitely is something I think is required, and it definitely enhances what the OAuth spec already does. And there's been like Den, actually, who I mentioned, actually gave this article a shout out on LinkedIn, which was pretty cool. Nice. But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. And I built like a client for this. So like a chat app basically, and we load MCP servers and stuff. And yeah, it's been fun, but we're not, just to be clear, we're not an AI company. Like we're security software that just secures stuff in general. It just happens to work really well with MCP. So
yeah, that's interesting. And I'm sure for you, it's just cool to get to work at a company that is engaging with like this new tech at a high level.
yeah, it's super fun, and like I've been doing a lot of the engineering for this, at least for the client side of stuff. And gonna, like I mentioned to you before the live stream, we're gonna be doing webinars probably once a week. Not webinars in the traditional sense, but more like, hey, let's build an MCP server today, or this is how you get your dev environment set up. And then like it's really more just like raw webinar. It's gonna be more live stream, but with
kind
people
of like a live
asking.
workshop a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
and it's just fun.
That
And like
cool.
yeah, so yeah, lots going on. But enough about MCP. What's going on with AutoShow?
Yeah, so I've got a PR open for you to test. Let me throw the link in the. Let's see. I think it's PR9. I always do this thing where I'll kind of clear my browser before a stream, but then. Okay, there it is. I'll drop it in both of the chats.
All right, cool.
So this is for the key moments prompt that we're adding.
Okay, yeah.
You wanted to do because you wanted to extract shorter clips, and it adds a prompt and a way to insert how many key moments you want and how long you want them to be. So you want to fire that up and maybe take one of your videos that you would actually do this for work. I'd be curious to see kind of what it gives, and if it kind of matches what you'd actually want, and if not, how we could tweak it. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel you. Okay, let me just close. I've got an MCP server running right now. I'm just gonna close
Speaking
of yeah. No,
this AI that is running Infinity on my machine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So I'm pretty sure I have AutoShow CLI on my work machine because I think we live streamed here last time, but worst case, I'll pull it down. But
yeah,
give me 2 secs here. Yeah, all right. There we go. AutoShow CLI and what PR number 9. Okay. Clear. Let me zoom in here. Boom. All right. Check out good old GitHub CLI. Check out PR number 9. Oh, I must have some stuff not committed. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, whatever stuff you got is not
okay.
It's kind of irrelevant at this point. We've kind of moved.
Oh, it's the staging.
Yeah, so yes, it's on the staging branch. If you click the little code thing on the top right, it gives you the exact command to run that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I use the shorthand. I actually didn't know they showed that for the PRs.
I see.
Yeah, I know they have it when you like clone the repo. I typically grab the GitHub CLI command, but I didn't know they showed it for PRs too. So today I learned something.
That is like the second most thing I use after cloning down the repo. So, yeah,
I use the GitHub CLI every day. It's like one of my go-to tools. Okay, so let's see here.
If you open up those are the prompts docs Markdown file. That will give you all the options.
All prompts.tests or prompt options, right? You said?
Hold on a second. Just open up your file picker real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one actually. Yeah, prompt CLI. Prompt
okay.
Options. You got it. Yeah.
Cool. Let's close this. Let's close Copilot for the moment. Okay.
Yeah. And so scroll down a little bit. Right there.
Key takeaways.
It's right under that one. So those are the ones that already existed. So then the code block right under that is the key moments one. So scroll down a little bit.
Oh yeah, key moments. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Because this is I think the first prompt that's kind of configurable in this respect. Which is, or maybe not, but it's gives you a couple different options that you can configure, which is cool because that gives me kind of a base to work off of if I want to do the same thing. Like if I want, 5 to 10
Okay.
chapters, you'll be able to select that.
And quick question: so you're using an RSS feed
Yeah,
into
so
your?
you could just change that to video and then
Okay,
what
cool.
your video thing is. The reason why
Okay,
I'm doing that is because in terms of the options I have, that one gives you like a 10-minute clip versus like a 1 or 2 minute long clip. So it's better for actually if
okay,
you want to
gotcha.
test, like I want 3 key moments that are each a minute long, like if the video's 2 minutes long and it can't actually do that,
Okay, gotcha. So, all right. So let's grab. I have to do this one too, but the first one I wanted to do is the one with B Dougie.
Yep.
Yeah, so- okay, and that's the video. Boom. Okay, does that look solid?
Excellent. Yeah. And then do you want to do ChatGPT or Claude?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, what do you have
I
for your what even
I've
stuff do you have in your .env? You don't need to open it, obviously, but you have,
yeah, yeah. I can put a. I think I have an OpenAI API key right now. Actually have to update it.
okay.
But it works with the OpenAI API key, right?
Actually, let's do this. Let's take off the dash chat GPT because then we're gonna be able to get the actual prompt, and then we'll just drop that. You can just drop that into like a chat GPT window
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
because this way we can see it's good to kind of see the prompt first to give you an
yeah.
idea of
Gotcha.
what it is, and this will take a bit. So you should,
Yeah.
while this is running, you should open up the prompt sections file, or it's just called the
Yeah.
sections file,
Okay.
and go to
Let's play.
what the prompt is, and we can see that.
Here. Okay.
Yep, and it's the very last one. So scroll all the way to the bottom. Yep,
Okay. So key moments. Okay.
yep, there you go.
So identify the most compelling segments from the transcript with whatever the count is. Yeah, okay, the duration should be whatever, because like, yeah, in my case, the way I was using it right now, like I was doing this manually, like, before we did this, but I said like 60 seconds because I wanted to use these as YouTube short. I know YouTube shorts are
Yep,
longer now, but
yeah,
I posted to like Blue Sky, which only does 60 seconds, and it just made sense to just keep it the same length,
yeah.
I
But
guess.
now you could configure it so you could do 60 or 300 or however long.
Yeah.
Math.
And
How long would
so
3 minutes be? That would be 180.
yeah, yeah. So like the main reason we started to work on this was because like I literally, just for folks who might not have caught the previous stream, like AutoShow is good at pulling out transcripts. So I was like,
Mhm,
basically I would pass in my video, I'd get the transcript, I'd literally copy paste the transcript into ChatGPT or Claude, and I would say
mhm.
literally not exactly this prompt, but I said like, find me like 1 or 2 compelling moments that are no longer than 60 seconds
Yeah, and you'd have
in the
that
video.
prompt, you would kinda just copy and paste stuff and then
Yeah,
modify it a bit for different use cases, yeah, so that's the whole it was literally the exact thing I was doing with AutoShow, why I built the CLI in the first place.
yeah,
So, it's just a question of writing that specific prompt because I have all these different prompts, but what you
yeah,
want is slightly different because what I have is something called chapters, which tend to be around like 6 to 10 minutes long, whereas your language saying it's like a minute long. This has come up when I've showed other people this Alex from Coding Cat. He
okay,
was
yeah, yeah,
like wants to create shorts, and it's the the same kind of thing. He's like, we're something much shorter, like really concise, like a minute to a minute and a half.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so like, and I mean, the cool thing would be, and I don't, well, this could be automated, but the thing is, like right now, like I end up creating a video from this. So I get the timestamp in the transcript, and then I go to the video. I edit it from that point because it's like it might not literally, like the transcript might say there, but I might,
Hmm.
start a few seconds before or whatever,
Yeah.
and then
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I edit the video because like it it- or may generally it's been pretty good at finding the key moments,
Hmm.
but at that point it's really like a starting point for me because like before auto show, like I would literally just kind of screen through the whole video, and I'd be like,
Mhm.
I basically rewatch it until I found like some good sections, and then I would, it's just very time consuming, and that's why I started doing this.
Yeah.
But it would be cool long term if I could just say generate me, like 3 video clips no longer than 60 seconds, and
Yeah.
like,
So check this out. Go back into
okay,
the project and look for the create clips file.
okay, oh sorry, okay, yeah. So that's what this is.
Yeah, so this is not actually integrated into the CLI. This is like a one-off script that I created a long time ago, and it's
Okay.
specifically designed to work with the chapters. So when you get the chapters, it'll usually have like H2 with markdown chapters and then an H3 for each chapter. So what
Oh,
this does is it strips that out and it uses FFmpeg to split the video for those exact chapters. That though is the way it currently works. There's a couple issues with it, which is that it's only working off of the audio file after it strips the audio from the video file. So if you want to
oh,
work
okay,
directly
okay.
on the video file, this needs to be slightly modified. Wouldn't be very challenging, but that's the first thing. And then
Yeah.
um, it would need to also possibly be modified if it's going to work with the key moments, because it might, instead of looking for chapters, we should look for the key moments. So the markdown has to come out correct. I also have a
Okay.
free factor this project in a couple different ways that I haven't brought back into the main repo, some of which involve structure outputs, which kind of solves this problem and ensures that the stuff you're getting back kind of conforms to like a JSON schema. So that,
Okay.
so basically what I'm saying is all the pieces are kind of already there to do that, with a couple kind of things that need to be fixed and glued together. But
Okay,
it's like
gotcha.
90% of the way there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I think, without building a full blown video editor, which I think is kind of out of scope of what you want to do, I think it
Sure.
would be I think it'd be super cool if like you find the key moments, like if it's just text, that's fine. But if you can grab the video for that key moment and then, I don't know, add like, I don't know, you could tweak it, but like, let's say add 20 seconds before and after, just in case it doesn't exactly start there, you know what I mean? And then you
Mhm.
have like a working clip that then you can edit. Like you don't even have to do that editing. Like you can just get the clip right away. And then that's the part where I would still consider it manual, is just like, because like for example, like we're on the live stream right now and you're on top of me in the video. But like
Mhm.
usually when I have a guest on, like it depends. Like if you're sharing a screen, it'll be like this and it's easier to copy. But a lot of times I'll have like the guest here, then me here, and then I have to
Mhm.
basically take 2 copies of the video and superimpose them so that I have like, for like a 9:16 view, I can just show the guest and myself talking. So like
Mhm.
there's some stuff where, at least right now, that would be manual. But I think generating the clip itself,
Sorry,
okay, it looks,
you need to rerun your setup command actually, because some things
oh,
have
okay.
changed in terms of the project structure, I think.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, we'll let that run. That shouldn't take too long. My internet's pretty fast too, so I think pulling,
Yeah, for
well,
some reason it took a really long time to download the video. Every now and then it does that because for some reason, like just the way YTDLP is downloading the thing from YouTube, it'll be like really slow for whatever reason in a way that's like kind of hard to debug. I'm not really sure if
yeah.
it's necessarily something that could be fixed, you know. But
Will it try to download the audio again, or will it check that it's there?
so what you can do is you could run the file command, or
Oh,
use the
okay, yeah,
file
yeah.
option and then feed it the WAV file you already downloaded. That's what you should
Okay, yeah.
do once it kind of
Yeah, okay,
fixes itself.
gotcha. I'll wait till this finishes, but okay, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think if it could generate like the clips, the key moments as clips, and then I just take that and that I edit that, and that already saves me a bunch of time, you know.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to have this all automated, but I think for like the clips, because like I really want it to look good. I also put like the Pomerium logo at the bottom and stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah, there's
I'm sure
certain
you
things
could
that are
automate
hard
it, but
to fully automate. What you basically are going to be able to do is automate it up to the point where you have like a raw clip if
yeah,
you were to just kind of cut exactly what you have, and then you could do all your other editing kind of stuff. But I'm not sure if you'd want to do that on a clip by clip basis, or if you'd want to make some modifications first and then have a video that you clip. I don't know exactly what would make more sense for your workflow.
Yeah, but just getting that would be good. And and it's the kind of thing, like I said, you can tweak like how much you want to add before or after. But anyways, yeah, so this is just installing CMake and FFmpeg.
Yeah, I think I'll just run this also on my machine just in case we get hung up on yours for whatever, like network reasons or something. So this is the self-host your AI coding assistant video on the Pomerium stream. So let me just run this as well.
I don't know if it's hot where you're at. I can't remember. Are you in Minneapolis or what city are you in exactly?
I'm in St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay.
It was very hot like a week ago. It's still fairly hot, but not as hot, which is nice.
Nice. All right. FFmpeg, that's hard to say fast, is taking its sweet time, but
yeah, no. Give me just 1 second while I run this on my machine as well, because it was working for me. So how many key moments do you want, and how long do you want them to be?
You gotta add.
I lost you for. I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. What happened?
It was my fault. This is one thing that's somewhat funny, but like because like StreamYard and other services like that are in the browser, I refreshed the wrong page. So like it just basically there should be I mean, it's been around forever in the browser. There's like do you really want to leave this page? Like it's a built-in thing.
Yeah, it should be for sure. I've definitely done that before.
For live streams, for sure.
Yeah, right before you dropped, I asked how many key moments you want and how long do you want them to be?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do 60 seconds and I'll say 3. Like I used to just ask for 1, but like I thought it would be interesting to try a few just to see, Yeah, the one with B Dougie, we were talking about self-hosting your AI coding assistant, so continue.dev. It's actually where he works now. But
yeah, what is continue.dev? Do you know? Assuming he does
AI
stuff.
yeah, definitely AI stuff, but it's the TLDR is like you install it as an extension in VS Code and you can prompt and stuff. It's similar to Copilot but it's like something you can just add to VS Code. I'm assuming you could probably add it to Cursor and Windsurf as well, just because they're based off of VS Code. But
yeah, your thing finally worked. It took forever.
Oh yeah.
Now I guess it's a whole bunch of stuff, but I think it might be sometimes when you also stream, like your computer just kind of rate limits other parts of itself. So I've found
it should. Well, I have like a M4 Pro, like that's what they gave me at work, so it's definitely got some.
Well, it's not a processing issue. I think it's a network issue usually.
Yeah, no, but if I look, I mean, unless it's throttling it internally, I have a pretty fast connection. I'll just double check, but it's usually like I usually have like 1 gigabit up and down, so yeah, so it's pretty close. This is like I don't know what like internet costs are in where you're at, but it's reason. Okay, yeah, so the internet's totally fine. Okay, it's done. All right, so let's go back up, and you said use a file this time, right?
Yeah.
And
do I have to give it the basically, so just do content / and then you're going to want to grab. So actually you could just do the copy relative path. Yeah, one of them. I always forget which one's but I recognize because I recognize it when I see it.
Does it is it the WAV file, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, cool. Copy relative path. Does it have to be in quotes?
Yes, or I'm not actually sure.
Okay, well, I'll just do it in quotes for now.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, so basically we've already got the wave file, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna prompt key moments and let's go. Okay.
And I actually
Okay.
got it on my machine, so I think I might just switch over.
Oh,
to
okay. It said
this.
okay. Tried to copy it, I guess.
No such file or directory.
It created a copy of it.
Okay. Interesting. Try or yeah.
Okay,
You should
it
delete.
renamed it.
Yeah, there's something weird in the download audio. Sometimes it gets confused. Just delete all the WAV files you have and rerun the original command you did.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna delete everything. Boom.
Okay.
Trash, baby. Trash.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Text video, cool.
Yeah, and let's just switch screens and we'll just look at mine. So yeah, just throw this guy into Claude. So here is the prompt. So this is the base thing you get every time. This is the transcript of timestamps.
Okay.
And then it says identify the most compelling side was the transcript. So it was 3. But we actually
that's going pretty fast. It's already on step 3. It's 10% of the transcription.
Okay, it worked this time. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe something else was clogging it up, or
yeah, there's always ghosts in the machine. I find when you're working with something like that,
yeah,
you're always interfacing with a YouTube service through YTDLP, which is really a tool that I'm sure YouTube doesn't want to exist.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, so it says identify most compelling segments. Each segment should be approximately 60 seconds long. And look for particularly insightful explanations. And then this is the important part, because this is what it kind of gives you back. And this is the thing that having structured outputs will fix. It won't just need to dump a thing of markdown. It'll be more specific. But even this way, the create clips command would still work because it still has the same markdown structure. So it would basically, what it would be able to do is identify these exact timestamps and clip. But like I said, it's the audio, not the video. But you just need to make that modification. They can clip the original video right there, and maybe give it like a 15-second buffer or something if you don't want to.
Yeah,
clipping it slightly too soon or slightly too late, or maybe a 30-second buffer or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously those could be optional, and you could set them. But yeah, that already would just like save me a ton of work. I mean, I know there's video editing tools. Like, I think it's all done actually. It just finished.
Cool. You should dump yours in ChatGPT since I'm doing Claude, and we can kind of compare the differences.
Okay. So prompt. All right. Okay.
Brian uses a brilliant analogy to explain why customizable AI assistants matter, comparing it to how navigation apps create traffic patterns, highlighting the risk of everyone coding identically with standardized AI tools. All right, because if all the traffic apps send you the same way, it creates like bottlenecks.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? I don't know.
Okay, so this has the... Okay, so
if you grab the actual
did the
markdown, it will look better. It will. So let me do this.
Yeah. I'm laughing because B Dougie ended the live stream with see you in the next one, stay saucy.
That's awesome. Okay.
All right.
So, yeah,
cool.
so it gives you the exact transcript. So this one would assume be...
I've got ChatGPT is thinking, it's refining transcript segments. It's doing some work.
Yeah, it looks like it cleans up. Or it basically gives it exactly as is.
All right, so thought for key moments.
Go back to you.
Okay, so yeah. Why it matters. In just a minute, Brian walks through how continuous block system lets you choose different local model sizes and layer on Custom rules drawn from real documentation showing exactly how developers can fine-tune an AI assistant to suit workload and hardware limits. Okay, that's pretty neat. Okay, so that's the 1 minute there. Then, okay, how many does it generate by default? Is it 3? Yeah, so it did 3 key moments.
Yeah.
And so essentially at this point, the video gets downloaded, right? As
So
well?
what it does
Or,
is it downloads the video and then strips the audio out into a WAV file because the WAV file has to be
yeah,
set up a specific kind of way for it to work with Whisper.
yeah,
Um, in some of the refactors I've been working on, it saves all of the files. So it will save the video file and the audio file. And that's
okay.
eventually what it's going to end up being because then you could do things like edit the video directly, which is something you've been
Yeah,
talking about wanting to do. So that's something that there's a couple things I just like push upstream to it still. But yeah, that'll be a thing. Is it'll
yeah,
because what it does right now is it does download the whole video file. It just deletes it after it creates the WAV
okay,
file.
yeah. But this looks like it's pretty decent what it generated, so I'd say this is probably good to
Yeah,
merge.
this is just with 4.0.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I would try it with O 03.
okay.
It
Let's
probably
see here.
it won't look that different, but it will
Just get it to do some deep thinking.
I would just
Where's the
open
end
a
of my?
new and then
I'm just gonna be lazy and
rerun
just
it.
send it again.
Oh, it's actually there's a button on it, the output, where you can rerun it with a different model.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like it looks like kind of like the recycle thing. Not quite.
That could be another interesting thing where you pull out the key moments or any of the features you have in the CLI and run it against a few models and just like give me the best, like
Yeah, that's the thing that I had an issue open about a long time ago to be able to give it multiple LLMs to run and compare to each other. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but I
okay.
don't think I ever actually implemented.
Okay. So it picked I mean I guess it's normal it picked different key moments, different model. Uh
Similar, they're almost overlapping in terms
yeah.
of the timestamps.
Okay.
That's basically the same thing. It grab this has the same starting time, slightly longer end time.
Yeah. Okay. So
The
this
transcripts
one,
are slightly different though, so one of them is rewriting something.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but so why it matters. The exchange zeroes in on how continued differs from cursor VS Code agent mode, highlighting its open source nature, air gap deployments, and why it matters for onboarding and governance. That could be interesting. Um, but anyways, the TLDR is the feature works.
Yeah, it's giving you the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is already super helpful. So can do a quick review. Can did Copilot review it for you yet?
No, run
Here.
that
I
sucker. Give
I
me some thoughts, Copilot. Fix my sins.
it, I find this is actually a good use of Copilot because like there's some projects where it's just me.
Hmm.
So like although it
Sure.
can't approve the PR,
You always get a
like
little buddy
yeah,
look over for you just in case. Who's
but
uh,
it's
maybe very
it's
smart buddy with access to all of human knowledge.
yeah, it's it's generally pretty decent from what I've seen so far. Like some stuff was like nitpicks, but like there was like a because I like basically the demo MCP client I made, like it was really meant for just a demo
Mhm.
for the AI World Fair. And
Right.
so like I was vibe coding it. I mean, it's still reviewing it, like it's like a React app. It's a 10 stack start app. And like I've done a lot of React, so I was able to review stuff. But there's some stuff because I was just moving super fast. Like Copilot's like, oh, you forgot this edge case, or so uh okay, yeah. So that's just doing the regular. It just gives a summary. Yeah, okay. So you can see here.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's just saying use a constant. You know,
Why not?
it's little things like this. So we can commit the suggestion.
Do it. Hopefully it doesn't break anything.
Yeah. And then let's see if there's anything else. I think
Yeah, that's the one thing
that's all it
I
really
don't
got.
have like I don't really have tests right now that run on the PR. So that's one thing that still needs. It's hard to test the CLI to fully test it. You have to actually download a video and run through the whole process. But I have test
Yeah,
files. They just don't run automatically on PRs.
you could. I wonder. Yeah, it'd have to be like a CLI test. So like,
I'm sure I could build an agent or action that would do it. It's just a thing to
yeah.
do. It probably wouldn't even take that long,
Uh,
honestly.
I'm wondering where did it actually put that constant? Uh,
Probably in the select prompts.
okay, select prompt. Okay.
Yep. Yep, right there. Line 65.
Yeah. So does that actually?
So it only did it for the key moments count, not for the moment duration. So
Okay, it's
they're
gonna
both
break
just
too.
numbers.
Yeah, it's gonna break because it said use it, but it didn't actually create the constant. So let me
That's
we can
fine.
do a bit of cleanup real quick here.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why anytime I'm doing this kind of thing, I need to be able to just run the commands over and over and over again. Like every single time I make a change, I just like run a quick command to check it, make sure it works, and it takes like
Yeah,
10 to 15 seconds. If I'm doing it on video, that's like only a minute long. So that's just, and
yeah,
I have a test files, which will run a whole bunch of commands kind of in sequence if you want to do like a thorough check. But usually I can just like
yeah,
run one. If I'm building a feature, it'll be something specific. So like this one command needs to work. So I just, will test that
yeah,
one command. And but it does create this issue then when you're trying to change stuff at the layer that Copilot is doing right now, because it has no way
yeah,
of running these commands, actually knowing what the hell it just did and whether it
yeah.
works or not.
See, and now it's putting the comment below it. But the other thing we can clean up the other stuff.
Add
So
goose.
let's see if it knows. Agent mode in VS Code has gotten a lot better in Copilot actually. So let's see if it default. Come on. Oh wait, am I not in? Oh, I'm in not in agent mode. Well, it should still ask me over there, but let me switch this to agent mode. But this should like I would have expected it goes, oh, you know, key like I'm waiting for it to kick in. Moments. Okay, it's not gonna guess it. Like, oh, there. Now it did it. Okay, so now let's go up here and it should. There we go.
There you go.
And then this. Yeah. Okay. And this. We don't. That's good enough. Okay. All right. So there. Was there any other things? I mean, this is obviously like
Those are the only two
minor
things you
stuff.
can configure with the command. So
Yeah.
we shouldn't mess with anything else
Uh,
within the scope of this PR.
cool. Let me just double check I didn't break anything else before we.
You
All
should
right.
go
What's
to
down
the
here?
docs and just run one of the quick commands to test. You shouldn't run it on the same thing you did because that was a long video, but you should run it on just the
Okay.
RSS example I have. And then
Oh,
Fuzzy can
okay.
do
Yeah.
it. So Fuzzy. Honestly, you haven't
Prompt
missed.
options.
You haven't missed what we're going to talk about real quick, Fuzzy, which is the new stuff in the CLI. Right now, we're just adding a prompt, which is a little more minutia anyway. But
Yeah. Where's
so
key
go down a bit,
moments?
right
There we
there.
go.
Yep. You should
Yeah,
test.
baby.
You should go. You should test the last one, not the first one,
Okay,
because
let
the
me bring
last
this.
one actually does everything. But don't copy it after Claude. Go before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like that. You got it.
Yeah, buddy. All right. All right.
Yeah, because you can see right there in the options, it's gonna give you 2 that are 60 seconds because you're specifically configuring. One is the default, one is not. So it's a good way.
Oh,
to
yeah. Okay, well, we can see that it's not going to break now, but let's just do it without the
other default.
Oh, actually, yeah, there. Let's get rid of both.
Okay.
All right. Did it? Okay, so it didn't pass any in. And we should see it.
And also, we didn't have this last time. You see there's a progress, not a bar,
Yeah.
but on the percentage as it's running transcription, which is nice. We didn't have that
Nice.
before.
Okay, so here.
Right there. Yep. Okay, cool.
Okay, looks like it's good, I think.
Yeah, 3 by default, 60 seconds long. Yeah, cool.
Cool. All right, let's push. Yeah, right. Clear. Cool. And refresh that bad boy. All right. I'm gonna give it a ship it.
Ship.
Cool. Nice. All right. Squash and merge.
Man, I wish Suno had an API. You could just generate like a rap song for every PR. Be so sweet.
Nice. Cool. All right. So
we've been good, Fuzzy. We've been very good. We're building in a specific new prompt in the AutoShow CLI for Nikki's use case for work, which is tight. So
yeah,
getting some good dog food in.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been. I think you were surprised I started using it for work.
Well, I was hoping people would use it. I figured people would use it more for the personal stuff, though. But actually, no, that was just me using it and showing it to people who would use it for more personal stuff. But obviously, the whole time I want anyone to use it. So, and
yeah.
There's people I've talked to who aren't even developers at all who are kind of using it for different people, like therapists who do like 3-hour-long workshops, having like very, very long kind of chunks of content, similar to a live stream, almost like this like big raw dump
exactly.
of just video stuff. So but I was just happy that you were actually using it for a work thing, because I figured you would get some use out of it. You're one of the people I know who have a type of workflow similar to mine, create a similar type of content, and face similar types of problems and use cases. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, cool. So I guess so that's merged.
Okay, I will test that later off stream since we only got 20 minutes left. I'm gonna go into the new. I'm gonna close that.
I'm gonna bring StreamYard onto my main screen since I'm not sharing, so I'm not like turning my neck for the next 20 minutes.
For sure. Cool. Okay. Cool. So we got now. This isn't actually in the CLI repo yet, because I basically wanted to be able to work on stuff kind of separate from the repo, because the repo is public, and sometimes I just want to create all sorts of weird stuff that could break things, or like I'm testing content that I don't want to be able to hard code and stuff like. So, but I have basically created like a whole bunch of extra functionality. The big stuff that I'm planning to merge upstream is going to be the image and text to speech stuff. So the image stuff, I'll show that first, because this is actually fairly similar to what I did a stream about a long time ago. And this is kind of downstream of that. Dev and I did a stream where we tested 3 different image APIs. One was Dolly, because this is before the new ChatGPT model, and Black Forest Labs. Yeah, Black Forest Labs is right there. And we also had a different one at the time. I forget what it was. I have to go back to the stream. But at this point, it's now using AWS Nova. And that's also partly because we're using AWS Poly for text to speech. So I kind of had a reason to build in the AWS stuff, because it has all these different stuff. It's similar with Google and Azure. They have services for all these things as well, but I've just always had a lot of trouble setting both of those suckers up. Whereas as complicated as AWS is, it's still for me simpler because I kind of figured out the CLI and some of their JavaScript SDKs. It's not that complicated, you know. So let me just run some of these. Let me run the compare one because that runs all three of them. So this will use a prompt and run it from all three services. So it's going to be a sunset, a beautiful sunset over mountains. And yeah, so this is going to run all three of them. So have you ever messed around with any of AWS's AI stuff?
With which one's AI?
Any of them. Bedrock is kind of the one where you would use to run LLMs. And then this is called Nova, or there's Nova. Nova has Nova. So Nova actually, let me get this right, includes all of the functionality. Nova is what is multimodal. So Nova Canvas is what we're using as the image model. And then Poly is not part of Nova, which is kind of confusing. So Poly is their text to speech service, which is kind of separate. But Nova also includes an LLM that does like text and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think it might even work with video. Actually, I wanted to pull these up just in the browser.
Yeah,
so let me check this out.
I haven't actually used any of the AWS stuff.
They're interesting, I gotta say. So yeah, that's also the thing. It has Nova Real. This is what a lot of things don't have, is a whole video generation thing built in. So the part of the reasons why I was interested in Nova in particular is because it gives you almost all the functionality you need to do the show I was talking about last time you were on. I was telling you my friend is like kind of wrote this sci-fi show.
Oh yeah,
he
the cartoon.
Based on his family's kind of workplace. And so I've been needing to kind of figure out, okay, how do I go from a script to a show? And that's like a crazy problem actually to try and solve, because you have to go from text to images to voices that then sync in a video output. And almost no tool involves all that functionality within itself. So you have to reach out to some different services, like you use 11 Labs for the voices, and you'd use like Runway or Kling for the video. This is kind of the first thing I was trying. And now I'm thinking like, well, if you're just using Nova, actually, you could do every single step. It might not be the best for each individual step, but it would be able to do the whole thing without needing to stitch together a whole bunch of different stuff. So the video stuff is not actually in the CLI. This is all just me kind of envisioning where this could end up one day when I have the time to do it. But
yeah, totally.
But yeah, so Nova's fascinating. And then there's Poly, which is, this is something they had before Nova, so that's why it's kind of different. But it's where's the docs? So, oops, that's not okay. Yeah, so Poly is a cloud service that converts text into lifelike speech. So, have you used 11 Labs, or have you used any of these text to speech things yet?
I got to give 11 Labs a try. They were actually, Thor and his crew were right beside us at the AI World Fair for the booths. So talked to him for a bit, but I definitely want to give it a go.
Okay, I'm getting slightly ahead of myself because we need to still look at the image outputs. So let's do that first, and then we'll get more into the text to speech. So this is the Black Forest Labs. This is Dolly, and this is not the newest ChatGPT model. This is the old ChatGPT image model. That's why it says Dolly. And then this is Nova. So there's still a couple of things I have to add in, which is the ability to select different models, because there is only one Nova model, but there's different Black Forest Lab models, and there's different ChatGPT models, and the new ChatGPT model is like the best. So that's one thing I have to still do before I can push this up fully. But let me now go to the text to speech. So text to speech is a wild like array of choices. I tried so many different. I tried like 10 different things, like kind of like 5 open source, like 3 or 4 different paid ones. Open source stuff is really freaking hard to get working. Right now I'm using Koqui, which is the one I found worked the best. But if you go look at this is
Koqui.
they have
I guess
this
is a
project.
Kokui type of frog or something?
Who knows? You ask ChatGPT. But this says here they're shutting down. So this is like an open source project that hasn't been committed to in like a year. It still works,
Okay.
but that's kind of a bummer. There's Kokoro is another one. This one was
Okay.
the only one that actually had a working JavaScript library out of all the ones I tested. And so this is probably the next one I'm going to try and fully integrate. But
Okay.
for this to work, I'm going to need to, I think, actually switch something. But let me just run this first. So this is using just the open source thing. And part of the reason why it's also challenging is because, like LLMs, you'll have all these different models that have been trained on different stuff that are different sizes and have different trade offs. So
Mhm.
the open source things, you're just only going to get something so good because
Okay.
you need to download massive models, which you can do, but it takes a lot of time. It takes forever to run. So let me
Yeah.
switch this to a tab. I think then I can share audio, share tab instead. Oh crap! A tab won't give me
Son of a bitch.
VS code, so I don't know how to share this audio actually.
Oh, you probably, I know Zoom does it, but maybe when you share your screen, I think you can specify that you want to do audio too. Wait, let me look here. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. So, okay, yeah. So if you share your screen, there's a toggle on the bottom when you go to share. It just says
where?
So stop sharing for a sec,
Uh-huh.
and then go click on present again,
Uh-huh.
and then you're gonna say share screen, and then
Yeah.
the screen sharing tips pops up. Click share screen, and then you're gonna see the share tab audio. It should be checked off the toggle by
Right, but
default.
that's only for tabs, and what I can't.
Oh, you
what I
can't
have is
do
not in a
the
tab; it's in a VS Code, which is not running in the browser. So that's
yeah, oh, yeah,
showing me
yeah,
all
yeah.
the tabs I open right now. I mean, I do know a quick way to fix this. I can just dump it into my an R2 bucket that I have, and it'll take me two seconds to do that. There we go. I don't want to show this on screen, so I'm just gonna do this off screen real quick. If you mess around with R2 at all, it's just some Cloudflare's like S3 thing.
Yeah, I know it's compatible, the API. I wonder if, because like I know Bun has like an S3 API you can use directly in Bun now. I wonder if you can just wire up R2. I imagine you could, but
It's a good question. Potentially, they have an S3 compatible API. Okay, so let me do this and that, this and that, and this should just take a quick second, I think. Come on now, there we go.
Oof.
Okay, let me go back to share my screen.
I'm laughing on LinkedIn. You said we're live, and the thumbnail it took of you, you're like this. You're like, let's go.
Awesome. Good stuff. Okay. Can you see the right thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how this sounds.
Testing. This is our test.
Oh yeah.
I
That
hope
came out pretty clear.
it's a very good test. Shaka laka do da, a whoa whoa bang.
So that's the test I have to say. Show you the test file. So it says, I'm testing. This is a test. I hope that this test is a very good test. Shaka laka doo da, a wow wow bang.
All right.
Good test. It makes it say something kind of nonsensical. So it comes out sounding different no matter which one I use. Okay, so so you're still seeing that. Let me just real quick. I'm just gonna run the same thing with 11 labs and do the exact same thing.
I should see if I can get Thor on the live stream. Been doing a lot of AI stuff on my work live stream.
Mm-hmm. What kind of stuff you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm giving the talk I gave at the MCP Dev Summit, the one about like, about improving security with with zero trust. That's the talk I'm probably going to be giving a bunch of places this year.
Which
I'm
places?
going
You've
back.
already given that a couple of places, right?
I gave it at the MCP Dev Summit, and then since then I haven't yet. But I'll be giving that talk at Black Hat. Like I'm basically it's gonna keep getting better as the year goes by. But like most talks do when you give it more than once. But yeah, I'll be giving it at Black Hat. I'm giving it at the end of July in SF at it's like a private event. I don't have all the details yet, but then I'm also giving it at Commit Your Code, the conference Danny started last year in Texas.
Cool.
And yeah, gonna see if I can get in a few other places.
Nice.
But yeah.
Okay, so now this is 11 labs. You'll notice it's only 5 seconds. The other one was like 9 seconds. So it's talking a lot faster. This is one of the things you can configure. You can configure their talking speed.
Testing. This is a test. I hope that this test is a very good test. Shaka-laka doodah, a wow wow bang.
So it nailed the shaka-laka doodah, a wow wow bang. Where the other one got kind of confused by it. So you see how the paid models are better, like noticeably better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I guess so that's what you're working on right now. The next kind of stuff in AutoShow, or
yeah. So this stuff basically works right now. All I have left is just to bring it upstream into the main repo, which is something that I front loaded all the work I need to do that over the last like week or two while I was moving. I just need to kind of like sit down and make the last kind of couple changes. So sometime this week, all this stuff is going to be upstreamed, and then anyone can use it. It'll be public. And then after that, I'm planning on putting the last couple touches on the AutoShow app and launching that sometime before the middle of July, because I'm going on JavaScript Jabber. So I want to talk about AutoShow and be like, hey, this thing that I just launched, go use it. But it has to actually be available and usable if I want that to be the case. But just a couple last things to do for that, because I got all the login and payment stuff working. So now I just kind of have to do a bit of stuff to the styling to make it look more presentable. But yeah, so that's exciting.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming things people should be looking for before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I got doing a live stream on some more Astro stuff on the CFE dev channel soon. I'll drop the link here in the chat. It's not on there yet. I have to put it up, the social stuff, but I'm going to be hanging with Avi from DigitalOcean, and we're going to be talking about event-driven architecture. He's got a cool thing he wants to walk me through, and yeah, I got some other interesting guests in the pipe. Aside from that, like basically trying to live stream most weekday mornings Eastern time. It's like, I don't know about you, but I
stream just a little too early for me. I usually wake up like an hour or two after you stream, if I'm being totally honest. But I don't know. My wife wants me to wake up earlier, so maybe that would do.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is, like, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like I used to be like, okay, I have to stream at this time because like so and so is not streaming then, and then like, and then I tried that for a while, and then I kind of gave up on it. Like, this is when it works best for me to stream, and it's not a terrible time really. It's like 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern usually, but like obviously. Well, a couple things. One, it's not like I have tens of thousands of followers, but
yeah,
I just got to find, like it's just, this just works better for me because like a lot of my team's on the West Coast as well. And I mean, it is work related what I'm doing, but like getting this out of the way in the morning, because then I have meetings come noon my time. We have like our stand up, and then I'll typically have any meetings I have will usually be in the afternoon Eastern time. So it seems to work good that way. I could try maybe.
Fuzzy's saying he got sniped with a few projects. So that's why he hasn't hit you up yet. He was also, I don't think we read these out. He was saying, I think this is in relation to Nova, sounds similar to Bedrock. The day we get away from stock images would be awesome. I mean, yeah, stock AI images they're all unique. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Literal sense that they all look the same. I love how AI thinks there's snow-capped mountains. There's some mountains with snow, I believe.
So somebody's running a Bob Ross like prompt through things, maybe.
Yeah,
just gonna put a little cloud up here.
A little friendly cloud. And
Yeah,
then Fuzzy's talking about the browser text-to-speech API, which I imagine would not be super powerful if it needs to run in the browser.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting times, but yeah, I'm supposed to hang with Fuzzy on my live stream. He's just got a lot going on, so I mean, there's no rush, Fuzzy, at all. It's like whenever it works for you. But be cool to hang. But yeah,
I'll watch that stream, that's for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, listen, man, I know you got a hard stop, and I actually going to play tennis in a bit. So always
great. I think we accomplished all the stuff we wanted to accomplish. I got to demo some of the upcoming functionality. Yeah, super fun to do this. We should do it again in a month or two, like usual.
Yeah. Sounds good, man. All right.
Man. All right.
Take care, everybody.
Later, everybody. We'll catch you next time.